Hi guys, welcome to part 2 of episode 6. So I've talked about what was in the dye pots, I've shown you all what I'm dyeing, waxed philosophical about merino tensile and superwash BFL, and talked about rescanning. So now I need to talk about what I've done to grow the business and grabby hands. Business, I am not a business expert. I did not do all of the research I needed to before I opened my shop. I really was just sort of all enthusiasm and no experience and decided I was just going to go gung-ho and do it. Laws in every state are different, but in Maine you need a seller's certificate so that they can have an avenue to collect Maine state sales tax from you. Because the seller, need to collect sales tax on everything I sell in Maine. So with the fiber frolic, everything I have, I need to pay 5%, which is our state sales tax, to the state of Maine. The DBA, or doing business as, is the way that they do that. Now, when I first filled out my DBA, I filled it out. It asks you, who are you doing business as? So I put my name, because that's who I'm doing business as. But that's wrong. It shouldn't have been Heather Monroe Kinney. It should have been Highland Handmaids. So it occurred to me a couple of weeks ago that I wasn't going to be able to cash any checks that were written to Highland Handmaids because I don't have the doing business as Highland Handmaids. So even if I had a checking account for the business, which I have one in my regular name that I'm using, I couldn't cash those checks. So I kind of panicked for a little bit. And then I went online to the Maine.gov website and filled out another seller's certificate, or DBA, as Highland Handmaids. And it asks you, is this a new business? Is this so on and so forth? And I just clicked, no, it wasn't a new business, so on and so forth. I got a phone call several days later from a lady from the state, and she said, are you opening a new business, or is this the same business? And I explained to her, I'm an idiot, and no, Karen, I'm not really an idiot. I explained, no, I just made a mistake. It should have been Highland Handmaids, not Heather Monroe Kinney. And she said, oh, I'd be happy to fix that for you. She was incredibly pleasant, and it was incredibly easy. And about 5 business days later, I got my seller certificate in the mail that now says Highland Handmaids. Now that I have that, I can take that and some ID and go to a bank and open up a Highland Handmaids checking account, which I still have to do, but I'm hopefully going to do that early next week. I just haven't had the time to go to the bank when it's been open. So I can have the business account, I can cash the checks that I'm going to get at the Fiber Frolic, and I can operate as a business instead of as my own. Legally, I don't have to do that. I can use my own personal account. My business is a sole proprietorship, so if somebody sues me because they trip over a cord or whatever, they can get all of my assets anyway. So it's not a legal thing, it's more a convenience thing. And I don't want people to have to write checks to me personally. I want them to write them to the company. People feel better about that. So that's kind of what I'm doing with that as far as growing the business. I do at least have my new doing business as legal seller certificate. I didn't bring it up here to show you. But my official piece of paper is done. So that's good. Stop. Oh, the cat is driving me crazy today. I opened the door, which you can see with the snakes right there, because I didn't want her clawing at the door, and now she's just sticking her mouth all over everything. Not my fiber. Alright. The only other thing I have to talk to you about is grabby hands, and I wanted to show you one cool thing that I'm doing. I'm going to bend out of frame for one more second. This is a sock design that I'm working on called La Vie debois. It is a reference to the American Loggers television show that is recorded just up the street from my house. This is the sock. It is actually not Highland Handmaids yarn. I've had this yarn for quite a while. I got it at last year's Frolic. It is from String Theory Yarns, colorway Kelp. It's their Nexus sock yarn, and I'll actually show that to you. Point down, maybe. Sorry, my needles are in the way. This is going to be a pattern that I will offer up on my Etsy site as well as on Ravelry as a download. I'm hoping to get this done and the pattern written up and test knit for me before episode 10. I have sort of set a mini goal for myself to have an episode, to have a pattern for you every 10 episodes. So the toe is a little pointy. I'm not really pleased with the toe. It's a toe-up sock. I tried. It looks fine on. But anyways, I will make some changes to that so it's not quite such a pointy toe. But I love this sock yarn. The colors are beautiful. You can see there's a little bit of like almost patterning repeats in the, I can't get this to go reverse image. Goes like this. It, in the color, so you can see like on the monitor it looks a little bit, but in person you really don't notice the repetition of the stripes. You you just get this beautiful mottled green pattern, and you can see La Vie de Bois is French for that's life in the woods, and so this looks a little bit like a pine tree here, and you've got some, vines and other ferny green bits all over the place. I originally was going to call this Swamp Thing Socks, but I don't want to infringe on DC Comics copyright, or Alan Moore's. I don't know exactly who holds it, but either way, I don't want to make them mad. So, this is La Vie de Bois. It is a toe-up sock done in colorway kelp from String Theory Yarns, and this will be a pattern for sale soon, ish, maybe in the next month on Rev. I'm thinking about possibly making this a pay pattern, so like $3 per the pattern, but to offer it free with anyone who buys a skein or two of sock yarn. I haven't quite yet decided on that, but I think it would be a nice little extra for people who buy my sock yarn to have a pattern to go with it. And even though this is not knit in my sock yarn, the base is very similar, if not the same. I think it's similar. I don't think we use the same base, but it's nice and springy and a regular fingering weight, so I think it would work well. I have a colorway called the Greener Side that is in my sold items, I think, on Etsy, and I'll link it if I can find it. And I'm doing that colorway up for the Fiber Frolic as well, so I will have some nice green sock yarn to do that in as well. So this is the cone of yarn. It's gorgeous. And I bought this at last year's Frolic. String Theory Yarns is the main company, just like me, and I'm a big fan of buying local or as local as you can, and it helps that their stuff is freaking phenomenal. Oh, and it's done in US size too, so this really flies. It's a really fast patterning sock. So, all that's left is to pick the winner from the contest I had last week's episode, to blog, plurk, tweet, make a comment somewhere on the interwebs about the Fiberista files, and to link it to me in the comments, and that I would draw a winner in today's episode. And the prize is a skein of jonquil sock yarn. Of course, I didn't bring that with me. It's downstairs where it's protected from the cats. So I thought, here's my little bag, and I have all the names in there, and I'm going to draw the winner. So the winner of the skein of sock yarn is Andrea9772, also known as Andrea from, let me see if you can see that so that you know I'm being honest here. I always like to see the name. Andrea, she just opened her own Etsy shop. It's called Plays Well with Colors, and I will link that to the show notes if I can. Her stuff is gorgeous. Definitely go check her out. She won the contest. Andrea, if I will contact you on Plurk, or if you can message me here, we need to get some details so that I can send that out to you right away. Okay, last up I have the grabby hands, the official grabby hands. I have been trying to do this for several weeks and have other things keep coming up, but it in no way lessens the awesomeness of this grabby hands. What I have for you this week is actually a website. It is called yarnonthehouse.blogspot.com. It's a blog, and the woman who runs the blog has a yarn giveaway, yarn pattern giveaway every single week. All you have to do to enter is leave a comment. Sometimes she has a direction like pick your favorite colorway from this cool indie dyer, and you can win one of these 2 skeins of yarn from said dyer. Other times it comes from not indie dyers but actual big companies. She has something awesome on her site every single week. She has interviews with dyers, with designers, with yarnies, information on all kinds of upcoming stuff. There's a lot of links and advertisements on the side of her blog over here on the right that give links to fibery goodness. There are ways, if you are a designer, seller, yarn, whatever, for you to advertise on her site as well. It's freaking phenomenal. And the first week I stumbled upon it, the contest was for 2 skeins of Malabrigo Twist. Colorway Plena, that's the colorway name. I don't know how to say that. Do you? Anyway, there are 2 gorgeous skeins of super smushy Malabrigo. I had never seen, touched, felt, loved on Malabrigo until I won this yarn. It's phenomenal. I did nothing to do this. I didn't have to pay for shipping, nothing. It was amazing. Go to that website. Actually, yeah, all right, go to the website. I keep entering to win more because the stuff is so good, and I don't really want to tell you about it because I don't want you to go too, which lessens my chances of winning. But it's too good to not share. So go to yarnonthehouse.blogspot.com. That's linked underneath here on the show notes. and enter to win your own cool yarn fibery stuff. And look later this summer to perhaps find some information from Highland Handmaid's yarn that you can win from there, because I would very much like to be featured on that shop, so I will be emailing her after the Fiber Frolic is all done. So that's Grabby Hands. We are all done. I'm totally out of time here. I'm going to have to cut some stuff, so if there's jumpiness going on, it's me cutting time because I talk too much. So until next week, guys, I hope to see... Until next week, happy spinning and knitting, and I hope that the next episode, episode 7, will be up in under a week, hopefully next Thursday or so. So, happy spinning and knitting, guys. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in.